Welcome back to Everyday Health Stories, the podcast where we explore the fascinating world of medical science through the power of storytelling. Each story reflects extensive encounters with patients, sharing fascinating tales of health struggles and recovery, along with the valuable lessons they've imparted. Before we begin, hit pause for a moment and click on the follow button. By following, you'll receive updates on our latest episodes, get access to exclusive content, and join a community of listeners transforming their health one story and one micro habit at a time. Please remember that this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider for any medical concerns. Now, let's dive into today's story. John Anderson was a man who seemed to have life figured out. In his late 50s, he had the aura of someone who had always done things right. A steady job, a loving family, and a smile that could light up any room. As a cardiologist in the quiet town of Sugar Land, I had seen countless patients walk into my office. But there was something different about John that day. He had come in expecting nothing more than a routine checkup, just another tick on the list of his responsible, health-conscious life. But as I sat down and began to review his lab results, a faint but unmistakable alarm bell rang in my head. His liver enzymes, AST and ALT, were elevated, not dramatically, but just enough to raise a red flag. The numbers stared back at me, small but significant, like a whisper of a storm brewing on the horizon. I tried to keep my expression calm, my voice steady, but the change in my demeanor was enough to make John's easygoing smile fade. He noticed my hesitation, the momentary flicker of concern in my eyes. His liver enzymes were higher than they should be, a signal that his liver cells might be under attack. I explained this to him as plainly as I could. Elevated enzymes meant his liver was being damaged, its cells compromised. His expression shifted to one of concern as he absorbed the news. I could almost see the gears turning in his mind, trying to connect the dots. What could be causing this? He didn't drink. He didn't take any unusual supplements. There was nothing obvious in his lifestyle that might account for the elevated numbers. But something was off, and we needed to find out what. I suggested a fibroscan, a test that could quickly give us a clearer picture of his liver's state. He agreed without hesitation. As we moved to the imaging room, I could see the tension building in his face. The procedure was simple, non-invasive, but the implications of what we might find were far from simple. The scan was over in minutes. I studied the results closely, my heart sinking as the truth became clear. His liver was showing severe scarring, not just the fatty liver disease that can come from a bad diet or a sedentary lifestyle. No, this was something different, something more insidious. John's face tightened with worry as he waited for me to explain. I told him I was going to refer him to a gastroenterologist immediately. We needed a deeper investigation, and we needed it now. The hours that followed felt like an eternity. I made a few urgent calls, pulling some strings, and managed to get him an appointment that very day with Dr. Shivshankar, a trusted gastroenterologist. Later, when Dr. Shivshankar called me back, his voice was filled with urgency and disbelief. "Dr. Reddy," he began, "John's liver scarring is due to chronic use of Tylenol PM. He's been taking it every night for 3 years." I felt a jolt of shock. Tylenol PM? A common over-the-counter medication, something so mundane, so innocuous, yet it had been quietly wreaking havoc on his liver for years. I immediately called John back to my office. When he arrived, I wasted no time. "John," I began, "we found the cause of your liver damage. It's the Tylenol PM you've been taking every night." He looked stunned, almost disbelieving. "But it helps me sleep," he murmured, his voice a mix of confusion and disbelief. I had no idea it could cause this. I explained how Tylenol contains acetaminophen, a substance that in high doses or with regular use could be toxic to the liver. Combined with the antihistamine in Tylenol PM, it had been causing more damage than he could have ever imagined. He stared at me, realization dawning slowly, painfully. "So, I've been hurting myself all this time?" I nodded. "Yes, John. The damage to your liver could worsen into cirrhosis if you continue, and the antihistamine can worsen sleep apnea and even impact your brain health." He was silent, grappling with the weight of what I had just told him. I could see the fear in his eyes, the regret. "What do I do now?" he finally asked, his voice small, almost childlike. I told him to stop taking Tylenol PM immediately. We would need to explore safer alternatives for his pain and sleep issues and closely monitor his liver health. Over the next few months, he followed my advice to the letter. Together, we found natural remedies, new habits to manage his pain, and his liver health slowly began to improve. John's story became a haunting reminder to me, a stark lesson about the hidden dangers lurking in everyday medications that so many of us take for granted. It was a story I would tell again and again to my patients, urging them to look closer, to ask questions, to never assume that something so seemingly harmless couldn't harbor a deadly secret. Because sometimes, the greatest threats to our health come not from the obvious, but from the things we trust the most. The story of Mr. Anderson highlights a critical issue in healthcare: the hidden dangers of chronic acetaminophen use, especially when combined with other medications like antihistamines. Let's delve deeper into why acetaminophen, also known as paracetamol, can be harmful when not used properly. Number 1. The metabolism of acetaminophen and liver damage risk. When you take acetaminophen, your liver processes most of it safely by attaching it to natural substances like glucuronide and sulfate, which help get rid of drugs and toxins. However, a small part of acetaminophen is turned into a toxic substance called NAPQI, or NAPQI, which stands for N-acetylbenzoquinone imine. Normally, your body neutralizes NAPQI with an antioxidant called glutathione, which protects your cells from damage. But if you take too much acetaminophen, or use it for a long time, your liver can run out of glutathione. When this happens, NAPQI builds up in the liver, where it attaches to proteins in liver cells, causing damage and even killing those cells. Number 2. Evidence of acetaminophen's hepatotoxicity. Studies have documented the hepatotoxic effects of acetaminophen extensively. For example, a study by Larson and colleagues in 2005 showed that acetaminophen is the leading cause of acute liver failure in the United States, accounting for nearly half of all cases. Even chronic use at recommended doses has been linked to liver enzyme elevation, especially in individuals with risk factors such as alcohol use or pre-existing liver conditions. Number 3. Risks of combination medications and acetaminophen. Combination medications like Tylenol PM add to the risks associated with acetaminophen. Tylenol PM contains both acetaminophen and diphenhydramine, an antihistamine. While diphenhydramine helps induce sleep, it also enhances the sedative effects of acetaminophen, potentially leading to more frequent use. This combination can mask symptoms of liver damage, delaying diagnosis and treatment. Now that we understand the risks, here are some practical tips to help you safely manage pain and sleep issues while protecting your liver health. Number 1. Limit use of acetaminophen-containing products. Only use acetaminophen-containing products when necessary, and follow the recommended dosage carefully. Be aware of other medications that might contain acetaminophen, such as cold and flu remedies, to avoid accidental overdose. Number 2. Monitor liver health. If you regularly take acetaminophen or any combination medications, consider having your liver function monitored through routine blood tests to catch any potential damage early. Number 3. Explore safer alternatives. For pain relief, consider non-pharmacological options like physical therapy, stretching exercises, or hot and cold therapy. For sleep, establish good sleep hygiene practices, such as maintaining a consistent bedtime, reducing caffeine intake, and engaging in relaxation techniques like meditation or deep breathing exercises. Number 4. Know the symptoms of liver damage. Be vigilant for signs of liver problems, such as fatigue, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, dark urine, or jaundice. Seek medical attention if you experience any of these symptoms. Number 5. Communicate with your healthcare provider. Always keep your healthcare provider informed about any over-the-counter medications, supplements, or herbal remedies you are using. This helps in avoiding potential interactions and allows your provider to guide you towards safer long-term management strategies. And number 6, make informed decisions about medication use. Never assume that over-the-counter medications are entirely safe just because they don't require a prescription. All medications have potential side effects, especially with prolonged use. Make sure to use them sparingly, only when necessary, and always follow the recommended dosage. By following these practical tips, you can effectively manage pain and sleep issues while minimizing the risk of liver damage. Thank you once again for listening to Everyday Health Stories. We appreciate you taking the time to immerse yourself in today's story, and we hope it has enriched your understanding. Remember, your health is a continuous journey, and staying informed and proactive can make all the difference. Please note that the content shared in this podcast is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult with your physician or another qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. For more information, visit our website. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on our latest stories and health tips. To learn more about lifestyle and diet modifications for managing medical conditions, visit getreadytoday.com or call our office at 281-491-0044. Until next time, be kind to yourself, prioritize your well-being, and keep listening to Everyday Health Stories by Dr. Reddy. Remember, every story has the power to transform lives. Stay tuned for a sneak peek into our next episode. Next time on Everyday Health Stories, we dive deep into a mystery that has baffled doctors for over 4 decades. Meet Harold, a man who has lived with dangerously high triglycerides for most of his life, despite every effort to bring them down. Was it his diet, his lifestyle, or something else entirely? As the clues unravel, what we discover will shock you. Can one man's lifelong battle with high triglycerides finally be won with a surprising twist? Join us for an episode that will challenge everything you thought you knew about your health. Don't miss it.